We're doing a recap.
Yeah.
They're live. This is live.
Yeah, we're live.
Come on, Shinny.
So we're not live on the internet.
We're live on the internet right now, yes.
Oh, we are? Shit. My bad.
We'll shut up. Sorry, boys.
All right, 1 second. Let me just tweet out the live.
It's Barstool. No one will care about people talking. It's all good.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on
fine. There's nothing you can do that'll be the most shocking thing that'll happen on the site like this week, so it's fine. 1 second with Clem.
Yeah, they're all here.
And Frank.
You can chime in, right? That was a
Yeah,
fun.
you can chime in.
Boys,
Watch
an episode.
Is this like a
All right.
Is this PG, PG-13, or R?
R, man.
It's a Game of Thrones show, so it'd be hard to keep it PG. I'm not sure how to do that. All right, we're gonna officially get the show started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, welcome to the post Game of Thrones show. It is Charlie Wisco, the Barstool Sports Game of Thrones recapper, and we have a very special guest with us today, an old classmate of mine. We went to college together for 2 years, so that's why he's on. But he also happens to play for the Charlotte Hornets, played basketball for the University of Wisconsin, where he went to 2 Final Fours and a national championship, which was like the best weekend of my life, so I can't even imagine what that was like for you. Frank Kaminsky. Frank, thanks for joining the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. All my friends are here with me. They're very excited about this.
Well, because you throw, from what I understand, Game of Thrones watch parties. Because I would say there are a lot of people in the NBA, you don't have to agree with this, who like pretend to be relatable and like they're normal people, so it's good for their brand and stuff. But you genuinely love Game of Thrones. I would say as much as I do.
I'd say probably more.
That's a challenge.
Cut down your own podcast.
I named my dog after one of the characters. So.
Wait, really? Which one?
My dog's name is Khaleesi.
Oh, well, there you go. And
Yeah.
then we have my co-host joining with me, the Many Snacks God, the Iron Bank Shot of Bravos, Blogger of the Morning, the House of Black and White Cookies, the Porzingis that was promised, the King-Size Kit Kat Slayer, Ruler of the Seven Courses, Kelvin Charlie, the White Bread Walker, the Swedish Blackfish, the Snackfish, Azora High Cholesterol, the Kings Road Commuter, the Blogger Without Banners, and Jorah Moremunch. Clem, what's up, man?
How long did it take you to get that one?
We do a new one every episode. We come up with a different nickname.
Yeah.
Every single one. All right, so let's get right back into it. Obviously, that was, let's go around. I would say so far that was the strongest episode of this season. Frank, would you agree?
I would say that's one of the best episodes of the entire show so far. That was an awesome episode.
I agree. And I thought, Clem, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I feel like we're just getting everything like Jon Snow would have taken 5 episodes in like season 4 to get to fucking Dragonstone. He got there in like not even like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like it just set up everything to explode too. Like it was a battle. It had a little bit of everything. It had the political maneuvering. It had the, the definite, like the plot progressions that were kind of interesting, the characterization, the battles. There was just like nothing really missing. It was a very complete episode, I thought.
I think a big thing is I don't know if I like it or not, but they are skipping through battles because there's going to be a lot of them. But I hope that is not a trend that continues. Like, because the army marching in, the Lannister army marching in, and then they cut kind of to just them.
Yeah, just being.
I want the spears, I want the swords, I want the fighting, I want all of it.
I wonder if part of that was also on purpose, just to be like, because of what they did was such like a sleight of hand. It was like, this isn't the real battle. Like you thought it was going to be the real battle, but the real battle is to come, and that's going to feature dragons and all of it, and that's just going to be absolutely insane.
I hope so. I hope they don't get killed first.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, and so let's get right back. Let's get into it. We'll break it down plot line by plot line like we normally do. Jon and Tyrion, the reunion, opening up with a reunion. I forgot, because it has been since season 1, just how great the on-screen chemistry of the Tyrion-Jon dynamic is. And when they didn't miss a beat. They were absolutely fantastic together. It was like poignant at times. It was also funny. It was like really insightful at different parts. I would argue that having Jon and Tyrion back is probably the best like combination of personalities that the show really has.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, they had some great. I mean, that episode had so much great dialogue that I think it started with the Jon and Tyrion dialogue. There was some funny in the beginning with Davos. Basically, just saying he's the king of the North after Khaleesi's 20-minute
no
intro.
Pharrell's nothing. She has almost as many names as Clem does on the show.
Yeah, that was a
But I gotta wonder, do you think that John, I think Tyrion having John's back is all the way predictable. Do you think Dany believes John about the White Walkers? Like, where do you see that relationship going? Because everybody thinks that John and Dany are going to link up and they're going to have this marriage and that they're going to be like the three-headed dragon and, you know, all the good stuff with that. But at this point, I think, and we'll start with you, Frank, like I think it almost seems too inevitable at this point. Both seems too obvious. Or do you think that it's...
I don't know, because I feel like all my friends are kind of seeing this. I think that Khaleesi is starting to become almost like a bad. She's becoming power hungry. And that is not good because she's not going to listen to anyone. I feel like she's just going to get this big head and her claim is
that she has the throne already when she really doesn't. Yeah, I mean, like for her to make them hand over their weapons and take their boats right away, it was such like a clear power play, like just trying to be an alpha move. I was wondering, like, I don't know if Dany's going to absolutely listen to anybody. Clem, what do you think goes on? What direction do you think that it takes between Jon and Daenerys?
Yeah, I think she needs to see a little bit, but like the whole thing I'm saying, I was like from Jon's perspective, like she doesn't know about White Walkers and Night Kings and that shit, but she also had fucking dragons, and like Jon didn't know about that. Like you just kind of have to take a little. There's a lot of weird shit going on in the show or in the world, I guess, for them. Yeah, and the thing is, I loved, like you said, Tyrion and Jon. Tyrion makes everyone just so much more excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Jon was the mopey bitch the first season of the series. And every time Tyrion was with him, he was actually watching him. So it's nice that I hope that Jon doesn't leave Tyrion's side the rest of the fucking way.
Well, yeah, and I like that Tyrion's like a main character again, because he's been kind of a secondary character. It's not his fault. They just haven't really had a place to put him in passing. And I don't know about you guys. He's by far my favorite character. Frank, I assume yours is Khaleesi because you named your dog after her.
It's not.
It's not. Who is it?
Euron Greyjoy is by far my favorite character.
Euron Greyjoy is your favorite character?
So hard for that guy.
Okay, wait. I was going to hold off until that, but we have to discuss this now. Explain, why is it? Because he is the rock star persona. He is kind of the rock star of the show. What is just everything about him your favorite, or?
I don't know. That guy's just like an egomaniac, and I love it.
Okay. It was like someone, it's like, you know, he'd probably play in the NBA with people kind of like with a Euron Greyjoy kind of vibe. He dresses cool, like he has a bunch of stuff, so I can see that. All right, here's one thing that I also thought about Jon Snow. For him to come in, it was literally like when a 5-year-old tries to tell a story and they just start blurting everything out and like nothing they say makes sense. When he was trying to explain the White Walkers to Dany, he could not have done like a worse job at it. I was like, Jon, use your words. Like, actually start saying things. He was just like looking at her and he was like, White Walkers, Army of the Dead. Like, you're just a bunch of children. Nothing you do matters. And like, I didn't really blame her when she was right away like, oh, wow. Like, I was like, Jon is so, for him to give up his weapons, defy her, like basically walk into being a prisoner, and then his one meeting with her where he has a chance to explain things, for him to just blow it like that was maybe the most perfect Jon Snow moment ever.
It was like mom and dad arguing, and dad is doing the worst job ever trying to make his point. That's all I could think of. Like, stop fucking doing it, Jon. And Jon hates that he doesn't want anyone to know he died. He's so embarrassed by it, or I don't know what the fuck. Like, he shot Davos the fucking dagger eyes when he almost said that he, got stabbed.
Yeah, he was like a knife in the heart. He's like, dude, shut. Like, why do you have to bring that up? Like, why can't we let the past just simply be in the past?
Shout out to my girl Masandi. She had a glow about her when they got on the beach. Grey Worm obviously did his job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was. How could he not? That's the only thing he knows how to do. Like, he has to. All right. So now here's where my question: will Jon eventually decide to bend the knee, or do you think Dany's going to let him be King of the North, or how do you think that'll play out, Frank?
I don't think he'll bend the knee. I don't see that happening. I don't know.
I think he's smart enough to know that'll get him killed.
Yeah, he's tired of being the I don't know. He's kind of just agreed with everyone way too much that it's just his time to do what he thinks is right, as opposed to what he wants.
Yeah, I definitely agree that. And then one thing that I think will get overlooked but could be tremendously important, when in that the scene right before that, when the red priestess looks at Varys and says, my destiny is to die in Westeros just like you. and you could see he was clearly rattled by that. Do you think like, did you guys have any take on that? I actually don't. This is why for my blog tomorrow it would be better if one of you could explain that to me. So I was wondering if either of you think you know what that meant.
Bart, I don't even know what that's about.
Yeah.
I think she sees some shit in the flames. My wife asked me the same question. I'm like, yo, that chick burned a girl because she thought it was the right thing to do. So she sees something in the flames. Shout out to Varys, by the way. He has pockets and everything, so you can never see his hand. Like, I love hoodie season because I have that pocket. I need to find that shit that he was wearing so I can wear that tomorrow.
You need to wear the robe everywhere to cover it up, and then you just hold in front of like a bread. Yeah, it's like a little bread basket almost. You need to get the long sleeves that drape down. By the way, that's going to be the gift. The kid who gifts me doing weird things with my hands every single episode. All right, then we'll go on briefly to the next one. Theon. He only gets a little bit of a cameo. Awesome scene where he says, "I tried to save her. You wouldn't be here if you tried to save her." Theon just needs to die. Like, I'm so sick of Theon at this point being a coward. I'm so sick of the whole Reek persona too. I want Theon to just be dead by the next episode. What do you guys, are you still, people were sending me in being like, I still think Theon can be redeemed. Have you guys abandoned him, or are you still completely in on Theon?
I drafted him in my fantasy Game of Thrones league, so I kind of want him to still be alive, but I also hate him with a burning passion. It hurt to draft him.
Can you explain your Game of Thrones fantasy league? We'll interrupt. This is the only time you want to hear people talk about fantasy sports.
So there's this website, and I guess you can draft people, and there's different categories for like violence, like sex and nudity, wits and schemes, and like a power thing.
And a power move
for each episode.
Who are you in the? Are you in the league with just buddies, or like?
I'm in two separate leagues.
This fucking guy.
And where? How are you doing so far?
I mean, this was a great episode for me because I have Jamie. I kind of
forget. You got a kill and a power move.
Pretty much every character, but they're in two different leagues.
That's the problem. I was going to say, that's the problem when your teams face each other and you're like, I got the Steelers defense and I have,
Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I got the number one pick in one of the leagues, and it couldn't have screwed me over more. My second pick was just so terrible.
Who do you got?
I had to take Khaleesi, and then Tyrion Lannister was the only good person left when the rap it came back to me, and I didn't want to take him. I don't think he's going to do much, but
well, right now you're basically like a guy with like two brackets though in an NCAA tournament to have two teams. Like, it's like, no, he's in my other bracket. Anytime something good happens, you're going to have a reason to be happy about it.
Taking Euron Greyjoy, so
yeah, that was a huge. Wait,
mistake.
Great segue, Frank. So the next scene.
Let me just say one thing. Shout out Theon. Snake until you make it, baby. I fucking love Theon, man.
How do you like Theon?
Because the Island Islands, as they say, they're so disgusted with him. They didn't even want to kill him or fuck with him. They were just like, you're so worthless. I just love a guy that's going to do whatever it can to survive. It's so dirty and rotten. I have to respect it. Tip my cap.
Clem, I don't like being on the Barstool New York team with you if this is how you view loyalty. All right, anyway, Euron. So this is sort of Euron, and to Frank's favorite character, and what I kind of love about him, and I can see why some people don't like him because they almost think he's out of place. But you know how like Han Solo's character was being a cowboy, but they just put him in this like modern space context, so it was just awesome and something about it worked. For me, the only way I view Euron when he's on the screen is that Euron is a rock star. Like, kind of like Jack Sparrow, actually. He reminds me of Jack Sparrow in a lot of ways, where he's just this, like, incredibly, like, charismatic, but, like, he definitely has, like, a fuck you to edge to him. That's really cool. So he's emasculating Jamie in every way, knowing that there's not a thing that Jamie can do about it. He's, dragging his own niece through the streets. Do you think Euron survives that? Like, but my concern with him is the star that shines the brightest burns out quickly, or something like that. Like, do you think that, Frank, that we see Euron last the whole season, or do you think that he's just so nuts that he's going to fly off the handle and get him
at some point? He's too cocky. He's going to get himself in a situation where he thinks he's going to be able to get out of it, and he's not. But I hope he just totally tears shit up before he dies.
Yeah, and I mean, I think right now it looks like he's about to. I mean, he has that whole fleet behind him. Clem, what do you think our boy Euron's odds are for the season?
I think Euron's going to make it to next season. He's going to be the big bad once the White Walkers come into play here. I just love the guy, man. I mean, Charlie, as we started this episode, I don't know if you were recording. Charlie's like, I'm going to go in on Euron Greyjoy as my guy.
Yeah, I want to be the Euron guy, but then Frank kind of took that from
Frank
me.
already took it, and like, you know, that stock is in the fucking millions right now. You can't buy in on Euron Greyjoy that cheaply. First of all, he looks like Bam Margera. Am I wrong on that? Like fancy Bam Margera?
Yo, that's a great call. He looks exactly like Bam Margera.
Like older, like I have money.
He kind of acts like Bam Margera.
And he kind of actually is Bam Margera is fucking running shit in Westeros right now. And
oh my god, man!
Bam Margera has definitely told. Bam Margera has definitely told a guy, like, I'm gonna bang your sister. Does she like a finger in the butt? And like, so does Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, the metaphor works perfectly. Right after said finger and butt talk, you then have Cersei going to Illyria, and Cersei being a villain. Okay, do you guys root for Cersei or do you root against her? Because I'm at a point where I don't root for her in most scenes. I can't help but that was electric. That sort of slow torture scene. It kind of reminded me of like a Quentin Tarantino villain, like Hans Lana from Inglourious Basterds, where you just watch him like slowly, meticulously take apart people, and I was sort of into it. So you are not on Team Cersei, Frank?
No.
It's going to be tough for you then when she probably is the one to kill Euron.
It just creeps me out.
It creeped you. So that scene.
Slept and had 3 kids with her twin brother. That alone makes me not want to cheer for her.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Clem, were you enjoying Cersei be just crazy in a way that you've never seen before?
I have to admit, this show's fucked me up so much. I love Cersei now. I love her. I don't think she blinks anymore. I was watching the show. I'm like, she hasn't blinked this entire time. She's so fucked up. And I honestly mean this. The way she's turned this all around, like we all thought the Lannisters were dead in the water, at least hypothetically. We knew they'd probably get out of it somehow.
Yep.
The way she's turned everything back in her favor, I want her the Mets to hire her as GM tomorrow. She's the only person that can fucking get us out of this pit of misery we've been in for years. Now I think is the Iron Bank behind her now? I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, they are. I think that was my next note. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the Iron Bank is the second most powerful group of people around money behind the conglomerate for Frank and his boys with the lottery tickets.
Yep. Shout out to all the award-winning listeners. But I swear to God, like Cersei, so she's crazy in a way. I think you could argue that even more than Euron, even more than Joffrey, she might be the craziest person to ever be on the show. I mean, because the way that because Joffrey, he was sort of like impulsive, like, you know, he was like a little kid. He was same with Ramsay. Like they would just sort of, you know, they were like little kids lighting ants on fire, except for people, which is crazy in one way. Cersei literally breaks people in like a very thought out, slow, torturous way, which is why I think that she's complete. And I wrote in my preview blog before the season, I said Cersei, the only thing anchoring her was her kids. She's going to completely fly off the handle, and I mean you're already starting to see it. But so the Iron Bank right now is an enormous edge for Cersei. I think I'm gonna write it in the recap blog tomorrow because people might not know what the Iron Bank is. The Iron Bank pretty much has all the money of Westeros and is like basically a kingmaker, and she needed an equalizing force in this war, and now she basically has it. So I think right now I would say she's winning. Clem, do you agree that she's winning?
I titled this episode "Don't Call It a Comeback," man, because Cersei, the Lannisters, they're doing their thing. I would say they should have the advantage. Now Khaleesi kind of has to like become a wartime general, and Tyrion's probably going to doubt himself because they got fucked with the Casterly Rock invasion. Euron's just fucking wrecking shit. And Cersei's crazy, like you said. Cersei's crazy. She literally lit people on fire. She lit like respected people on fire.
And then said it was a tragic accident while just staring at that guy, who's Mycroft Holmes in Sherlock, by the way.
The smile she has on her face when they presented Illyria in front of her was like the sickest smile I've ever seen. But I think if I had to guess, like, I don't know.
I thought we were about to see another crushed head again, and I was literally sitting like that, like not wanting to. Seeing Oberyn get crushed, like I have nightmares of that. Like that is, I was so not ready to see another one. I was really glad that they just went down the poison route.
I don't know what this says about me as a person, but I really appreciate a really good revenge plot, like Lucky Number 11. I love that movie, just the way it all plays out. And when she's like, not only your daughter will die, she's going to rot in front of you. I'm like, Cersei, you're a badass bitch. And I was all behind her at that point. So
Well, there's
she'll
also
do
just
things like Elena says. She'll do things that you couldn't even imagine, and that's why I think they might have the upper hand. I think Vegas still has the money on Daenerys, but she has to start using those fucking dragons.
Okay, do you think Daenerys now is just going to be like, I don't care about civilian lives, fuck all that. I'm just going to go and start destroying and just take what is mine? Do you think that is what is going to happen, Frank?
Well, I do think she's getting too power hungry, so I could see that happening for sure. Because she's going to be sitting around with advisors like Olenna told her, like, you're a dragon, be a dragon. I think she's just going to get tired of listening to all these other people and just do with what she feels, because she's going to get so caught up in her own shit that
well, she's trying to maneuver around them. You kind of can't beat the Lannisters at that game. They've been doing that
Cersei's
for their entire lives.
Smart. Cersei's like she's so much smarter and on like a whole nother level than Daenerys is. She's willing to do pretty much anything to keep herself and her family in power. And Khaleesi just sits around.
Like Olenna said.
Like it's like Cersei's already great, but Khaleesi sits around talking about how great she's gonna be, but she's not there yet.
That's a really good point, Frank. I'm gonna write that in my recap blog tomorrow. I mean, Olenna said it perfectly. She was like, I did whatever I could think of to save my family. She was like, your sister, to Jamie, is like, she just thinks of things I would never think of. Like, it's almost like evil on like a brand new scale. It's something that you almost can't compete with. And that's why Dany, maybe her best bet is just to go on the dragons, because she can't go with her intellectually, and she can't in an evil off have any chance of winning. So she has to do that. All right, let's talk about that scene with Olenna. I did not see the whole just abandoning Castle Rock thing coming. That was an absolutely incredible tactic. Completely flipped the game on its head. And then Olenna Tyrell, she's poisoned by Jamie, but not before warning him, you know your sister is a monster, and then poisoning her. But then right before she dies, she throws in that last jab, I'm the one who killed your son. That was awesome. Were you guys like, how did you guys feel about the scene, Clem?
I love that that was like a player's tribune. Like, you're going to get it from my mouth. I'm the one who killed your son. It was fucking awesome. I'm going to miss her, man. I was sad she had to go. I understand that it had to happen, but Jamie, I feel like he's going to go off the rails again. We had our good Jamie, and I think shit like that and seeing his daughter die in his arms, we may get like, he's not going to ever reach Cersei's level, but yeah.
I was shocked he didn't take out his sword and chop her head off. I thought that was like, I'm going to let you die peacefully. She says that, and then he was going to take it out and then just stick her with it. I thought he was about to kill her. Frank, what did you think of the Jamie Olenna interaction?
I think Olenna, she's always been like one of my like low-key favorite characters, because I feel like I relate with her the most, because she goes about her stuff in the best way. Like, she's not afraid to say people, she's not afraid to piss people off, and she does what she feels like she can do. But yeah, I definitely thought, I was waiting for Jamie to pull out the sword and just chop her with it. But
she loves dropping the C word too.
I feel like Jamie still has some honor and respect to him, unlike a lot of other people, and I think that's what's going to separate him from everyone else in the end.
But I wonder if that's what's going to get him killed, because she said, and this is like crazy on a level that I can't even comprehend, she said, your sister is going to be the death of you. And he was so casually just like, I know. Like, it was like in the first episode when Cersei looks at him and she's like, are you scared of me? And he's like, should I be? And she doesn't even answer him. Do you, everybody's favorite theory, Clem and I have talked about this ad nauseum, Frank, but I'd love to get your take on it. Everyone and their mother's favorite theory right now, and I've been saying this for 3 seasons, is that Jamie's either going to kill Cersei or Cersei's going to kill Jamie, that there is some sort of fatal attraction thing where one's going to kill the other. Which one do you think will be the death of the other, if any, or do you think that they'll actually just straight up?
I think Jamie killed Cersei.
Jamie kills Cersei. So you think it's Mad King 2.0?
And I think Jamie's the most important character left in the show. He's going to dictate so many things as to how basically.
Why? Just because he's the one who has the keys to
the army, and he's the closest to the queen. I think his decisions matter the most. What he decides to do changes things more so than anyone else.
That's actually probably really true. Yeah, him or Daenerys are probably the most important characters. Yeah. And then just the weird, and then another, of course, they had to just put another Cersei Jamie sex scene with those. I realize that those two actors aren't related in real life. That will never. I was actually, I don't know if you guys
Those don't.
What do you think was more? No, they do not. What was more uncomfortable? The Grey Worm one last episode, or the Cersei Jamie one this episode? And then Cersei just openly flaunting what happened.
I think the Grey Worm one was. I got a lot of respect for that guy.
That was a real game recognized game moment. All right, Clem, which one made you more uncomfortable? I watched both of them with my parents, by the way. So
you're such a girl, Charlie.
Dude, I still live in Connecticut. I'm not moving to New York for another month or so. So I'm not I have no choice.
I hate, like, if you go to like a porn site, or you know someone who might go to porn sites, they have like brother sister porn, even though it's not brother sister porn. I know it's not brother sister porn. I won't even watch the video, even if it's like 95% and a billion views. I'm not touching that thing just because you wrote the words brother and sister. Fuck that shit. And fuck this goddamn Game of Thrones incest. Before I got it all started. God damn it.
It is definitely one of those shows. It's one of those moments where as I'm watching it and I'm like, this is my favorite show. Like, it's so weird. Like, what is this show that I continually, like, not only watch, but, like, love and engage with on such a big
Imagine explaining that to somebody who hasn't watched the show before. Oh, yeah, there's this...
Dude, I did.
And they have 3 kids together. Yeah, they incested.
Yeah. Dude, I was at a family friends reunion thing over Maine this weekend, and we were talking about Game of Thrones ones. Like, so who are your favorite characters? I'm like, oh, there's this character Jamie. He's one of my favorites. So he's in love with his sister, and they have all these kids from incest, and he killed a king, but like now he's good. And they were watching. They were like, this sounds like, I can't believe this is even allowed on TV. Like, the government
should this show to some other people that haven't watched it. I'm telling you right now, they would be like, well, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Oh God, it's. When you try to explain Game of Thrones to people, it's actually kind of almost like explaining Barstool to people. Like, it just sounds like the dumbest thing ever. You're like, well, there are all these like overweight bloggers and people follow their lives and they throw them in an office in New York and we watch them mentally devolve and it's entertaining to us. It's like, oh, that sounds great.
Barstool Sports, 50% less incest than Game of Thrones. That's a very
50%. But yeah, there's way less incest and way less violence. So we have that going for us. Even with Nate bundling YP. All right, so now we have, for the final thing that we haven't talked about, kind of anticlimactic, honestly, because we talked about 21-2. North, Sansa, running things. She's so clearly the best leader in the show. She actually sort of reminds me of Tywin in that way, of just like the absolutely ruthless efficiency that she rules with. She's unimpressed with Peter Baelish, but he clearly has some sort of hold over her. And he can be useful. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. Bran comes back for a Stark family reunion where he just has to casually remind his sister. Like, he could have proved anything maybe to prove his powers. Be like, oh, I was there at the battle with Jon and I saw it. But instead he has to remind her about the worst moment of her life in the absolute, like, creepiest monotone too. He sounded like a kid who just came back from abroad, like all pretentious and stuff. So yeah, I sort of hate Bran now. What do you guys think is going to go down with Sansa and Bran? We'll start with you, Frank.
I don't know where that one's really going. I've had a theory that Bran's going to be the one that, like, I'm sure this has been other people's theory. I mean, I don't really read stuff online that much, but Bran
other than the Barstool Sports recap every Monday, right,
yeah,
Frank?
Yes, of course. But I feel like Bran's the one that drove the Mad King mad. And I feel like he's going to do that with everyone else. He's just going to start getting on people's nerves. But it's like, I don't. If I had a guy that was like a know-it-all around me all the time, like him, but he actually knows everything that's ever happened and probably ever will happen,
it would just drive you insane. All right, Clem, what do you think happens?
Yeah, like you said, man, he's coming back all fucking, like you said. I said a crazy liberal school, but I think abroad is an even better. He probably puts accents on shit, like he's been above.
He's a kid who like went to Wesleyan and then went to like Paris, and he comes back and he's just like, like they don't eat fast food in France or something like that. Actually, Royale with cheese, they do, but he had that. I laughed out loud. When like Sansa's like, Bran, and like goes hug him, and he just looks at her all creepy, goes, hello, Sansa. I was like, what the? I would like send him back out if that was my brother. I'd be like, no, like get this kid out of here. This is not my brother anymore.
This is my thought on that whole situation. I feel like this every time stuff like this happens. The Starks are catching too many wins right now, and I'm just waiting for the other side to fall. Every time Littlefinger and Sansa are on the screen, I'm just waiting for her to stab a dagger in her heart. And what the fuck?
Do you think he will? Do you think it's true? It's like Sansa's the only one who he won't betray, because I think he will betray absolutely anybody.
Oh, I think he'll betray her once the stakes are large enough, and he knows exactly what that stake is right now. And when he was saying like fight the battles in your mind with everyone and everything, I'm like, damn, dude, I'm too tired even like what that life is like. He's a crazy person. And Bran, you walk through the gates, you see Sansa for the first time in whatever, and be like, yo, Jon's not our brother, he's our cousin. Like, that's just let it be known, man.
I love how he's just like, Jon, yes, I need to speak with him. It's like, yeah, well, you know what, Bran, maybe you should. All right, Frank, what do you think?
Well, he said Bran walked through the gates, and Bran hasn't walked through anything in a long time.
Damn. You cold, Kaminsky.
That was cold, Frank. That was cold. That was very cold.
I'm just helping. I'm helping for the flow of the conversation. I'm just making sure we're all on the same page.
Okay, you're right. Thanks. You're like one of the people in the comments who corrects me on every blog. All right, we're gonna just take one question and then we'll let you go, Frank. Thanks for coming on and taking the time to speak to us. Let's see if anybody has a good question. When all things look lost, Bran will take over a dragon's mind and defeat the Night King. That's not a bad theory. That's from our boy Heaven. It's not really a question. It's just a thing someone said that I thought was an interesting thought that I can see something like that happening. I don't know if you can warg into a dragon, though. Aren't dragons smarter than people?
I don't really understand what he can fully do and can't do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like transcends to like other things. Can he take over other people's? Like, if he could take over other people's minds, why doesn't he just do that?
Yeah, he could do that. Well, when he said he was like, it's hard to explain, I wanted to be like, well, why don't you try explaining to us right now, because everyone else is very lost. All right, I think that's it for the show. We've taken enough of your time, Frank. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. We'll have you on any other time you want to come on and talk about Game of Thrones. It's the fact that you're an NBA player and spending so much time reading internet, like watching YouTube videos and just thinking about a show about dragons and ice zombies is just, it's fantastic.
My whole day today was planned around where and when and what food I'm going to eat while I'm watching Game of Thrones.
Are you? So, and then
we walked down the street. I was walking down the street looking for food, and we couldn't find anything. And I actually walked into a place because it was the only place. It was called the Plum Market. I thought it was just going to be a place that sells fruit, and I was going to call a spade and just cut my losses and eat a bunch of fruit for dinner. Then they actually surprisingly had a lot of good food in there. So.
What an upgrade! Incredible.
That's awesome.
You saved my Sunday night.
Shout out Plum Market.
Shout out to the Plum Market. You know, maybe we will end every single episode now with just shout out to the Plum Market and just see who the real loyal listeners are. And by the way, and then another thing I think people need to know is that you, for the finale, told me that you are planning on renting a movie theater.
I already did.
You did, so that's done. So you rented an entire movie theater. Or what?
It's surprisingly not that expensive either.
Really?
About 100-person theater somewhere in Chicago. But yeah, it's all set up.
Okay, and are you is it only Thrones fans only, or is it gonna be like an event? Like, what's the?
I mean, I don't want just random people there.
Yeah, true. You can't have anyone who. If I have, I had one of my younger brother. I had a friend watch Game of Thrones one time, and he took out his phone and was like texting with the sound on halfway through. Yeah, and this was like last year, and I was like, you have to watch somewhere else. I might
make a policy that you have to turn your phone off.
Yeah, I keep put mine on airplane mode only because I take notes during the show. All right, Frank, thanks so much. Clem, any last words?
Some guy, Tim Ruby, just tweeted me, Lannisters are up 28-3. Thought that was a good one.
Yeah, Lannisters are up 28-3. That's a good way of putting it. Frank, tweet out updates, by the way, regularly of your fantasy league. I think the people have a right to know if you win your fantasy.
I'm in dead last in one of my leagues. I've scored 5 points, and I think the leader has like 300. So I think I'm in trouble. But I have the Night King, So that could.
Oh, dude, that's like having Jordan in the fourth quarter.
That was my sleeper pick. So I'm hoping that he pulls out a big stop at some point this season.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to do I was gonna say I want to do a fantasy league like Frank, but I couldn't. Like I hate my life during fantasy football season enough. Like if I didn't draft Euron, it would ruin my Sunday every single time he does something awesome like that.
Yeah, just this could have been mine. All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, thank you.
That was such a great way to end the show. Yeah, that was the most awkward. Frank, I'm not as good at this as Big Cat and PFTR, if you can't tell by being on both of our shows.
They're happy.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Later.